Jared Kelenic has arrived. Now, I know what you're thinking. It is extremely early in the season and there is still a long way to go. And I understand that, but what we've seen from Jared Kelenic so far is very, very intriguing. Now, before we go too far, let's rewind a bit. Prior to the 2018 MLB draft, Jared Kelenic was one of the best high school prospects in the class. He ultimately ended up being selected by the New York Mets 6th overall, and since being drafted, Kelenic tore it up in the minor leagues. But Kelenic wouldn't be in the Mets system for too long, as only 6 months after being drafted in the first round, he was the centerpiece of a blockbuster deal. This was the Edwin Diaz trade, which at the time was a huge deal. Diaz was coming off a ridiculous season in Seattle where he posted a sub-2 ERA and locked down 57 saves. And in order to get a player of Diaz's caliber, the Mets had to give up quite a bit. They shipped off a boatload of prospects to the Mariners, including one of the best prospects in baseball at the time in Jared Kelenic. At the time, Jared Kelenic wasn't known by many people across the league. Yes, he was a very highly ranked prospect, but at the time he wasn't major league ready, so there were still lots of people who hadn't heard the name. But once the deal was finalized, Kelenic arrived in Seattle with very high expectations. And in the following season, Kelenic lived up to the hype as he put up some very good numbers in the minor leagues. All in all, in 117 games, Kelenic hit .291 with 23 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and a .904 OPS. And fast forward past the COVID-shortened season into the middle of 2021, and Jared Kelenic would ultimately get called up to the Mariners to make his major league debut. And at the time of his call-up, expectations were sky high as he was a top 5 ranked prospect in the league. But for Kelenic, his first taste in the big leagues did not go as planned. In only 93 games, he did have 14 home runs and stole 6 bases, but he had an ugly 181 average and a 615 OPS. So the power and speed numbers were there, but outside of that, he really wasn't doing much good, and he was all in all one of the worst players in baseball. Now fast forward to 2022, and Kelenic, obviously being a former top prospect, was going to get many more opportunities. But again, he was a huge letdown in 2022 as he only played in 54 games where he hit .141 with 7 home runs, 5 stolen bases, and a .534 OPS. So after 2 ugly seasons to start out his career, it seemed like time was running out for Jared Kelenic. And I know after this 2022 season, he was still only 22 years old, very young, but a player of Kelenic's caliber with the amount of hype he had when he was called up to the big leagues, people across baseball were expecting much more out of the gate. And at least in my opinion, this 2023 season was going to be make or break for Kelenic. And so far, he has shown up and shown out. In 37 at-bats this year, Kelenic is hitting .351 with 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, and an 1118 OPS. And like I said before, it is extremely early in the season, I get it, but Kelenic looks like a completely different player out there this year. He doesn't look nearly as lost as he did in his first 2 seasons, and he just looks a lot more confident, and the one big thing I've noticed is his swing. In his first 2 seasons, he didn't have any sort of leg kick, but this year it definitely looks like he did implement a pretty big leg kick. He gears up when the pitch is coming in, and it looks like it gives him a lot more power, and so far he's seen great results with it. I mean, the guy hit a 482-foot bomb at Wrigley Field the other day, so he looks like he's clicking on all cylinders, and if he keeps up this play, the Mariners are going to be a very dangerous team. I can't wait to watch Kelenic the rest of the year. I really hope he does keep this play up because an outfield with him and Julio Rodriguez, that's one of the most exciting young outfields in the game today. They could be a lethal duo together, and I just really hope he keeps it up. And for me, I'm very happy to see Kelenic playing as well as he is. I have been a huge fan of him since day one. In fact, back in his rookie season, I thought he was going to win the Rookie of the Year award. I thought he was a 30-30 type player right out of the gate, but clearly I was wrong there. But maybe this year he could go for 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. He looks like he's a very good player who could break out. Let me know what you guys think of Kelenic down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.